How's it going, peeps? Welcome back to Viva La Coin. I am Joe. I will be your host for today's episode, and I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into Verasity, or ticker VRA, and their crypto and some of the things going on in their space and what I look at in general when I try and find a very low cap altcoin that I'm going to put my money into. Because honestly, when I first invested in them back at 1/20th of a penny, if I picked any crypto above or below them on the list, I would have been shit out of luck. But before I do that, I want to reiterate a couple things for the new people to the channel, and again for the ones that have already been along for the ride. So the purpose of Viva La Coin isn't to shill a bunch of garbage, it isn't to run contests, it's not to ask you for money, and it isn't to put up outlandish price predictions that have you chasing all these green candles or projects that I believe have already pumped or aren't going to come to fruition. My ultimate goal here is to educate everyone as much as I can to the extent of my knowledge on cryptocurrency and its utility. What cryptocurrencies actually have a use case that can benefit society, that could benefit the people that need it, that can actually benefit the institutions that adopt it. If we just look at the price and we say, oh, here is our return on investment because we're investing in Hoj Finance or SafeMoon or some of these pump and dumps, eventually you're going to get burned because those market caps are not going to continue to push, and there are people that buy into those super early. When I cover things on here, this isn't a VRA channel, it's not a Cardano channel, and it's not a Bitcoin channel. This is a cryptocurrency education channel, and that includes external news, things that come out in global finance, what the international banks are doing, what our current financial system is looking like, updates on how I think the stock market might affect cryptocurrency if there are big undertakings on that end. Now, by no means am I a financial advisor. I'm not an oracle. I cannot see into the future, but what I can promise you is that I care more about getting people educated on this and getting in and protecting themselves from what is to come than I do about anything else, even more than the money. If I just wanted to invest in crypto and just make gains and call it a day, then I wouldn't have to make the channel. I don't need the ad revenue. I don't. That's why I can just fucking swear or say whatever I want, because this isn't designed for me. This is designed for you. So for anyone new here, I hope that you continue to come back and watch the content and enjoy it. Even if I cover cryptos that you're not a fan of or you're not familiar with, I'm not going to just say you have to buy them and they're going to 100x. I'm going to try and break down where I see the value and the utility for them and try and really point out the good and the bad on what's going on in any space. I am not biased whatsoever, and if I think that something's going sideways or about to drop or there's any problems, or even as we get to the end of the bull run and I think it's time to protect yourself or pull out, I'm going to talk about that, at least what I'm going to personally do, and hopefully you can take something away from that. And you can really not follow the herd and just watch a bunch of other videos about people, just new altcoins every day that they probably already purchased, and then they're going to dump on you that haven't really pumped. That's not the design of this whatsoever. So I'm happy and honored to have you on the channel. Let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to show you a little behind the scenes stuff that's been going on with VRA and why I think that in this space they are going to continue to push forward. Now, I always try and highlight just where Bitcoin's at the moment, and we're sitting right at about 58.8. We were up in the mid 59s again, and they're just pushing it down. I do believe that we're going to be in this little sort of slower uptrend as we push towards 61,000 to break that before it is clear skies for April. However, the Bitcoin dominance and the percentage of the market cap overall that is Bitcoin has dropped significantly. If you can see, every time Bitcoin has dropped over the last couple of days, altcoins continue to rise. And that is because we are in altcoin season. Now, I broke that down in a couple other videos of how that metric, we crossed that line. If you want to go back, I did a little altcoin series about the ones that I believe in. Go take a quick peek at that. I think there's a lot of good information. And again, you know, I can't predict the future, but I pick projects that I believe have utility and a lot of other people are going to find value in. Now, to look at Verasity, even when I made my previous video about Theta and VRA, I believe it was sitting right around 3 cents at that time. And I said, I think that they're going to push to 3.5 cents probably by the end of the night and continue to run. And here we are. They were all the way up to about 0.047. So they're down a little bit, and we have this slightly volatile consolidation of some people that were in super early, selling some profits, and a lot of new people coming in that just got a quick 100% jump, selling a little bit there, and that's fine. It's healthy. I'm okay with it. The team is active, doing a ton of different things, and they actually just extended their staking and everything that they're doing in their own VRA wallet. So I'm going to point that out there as well. Now, over on my Twitter, I talk a lot more about some of these low cap projects that I'm a fan of, like VRA. And our Twitter handle is just Viva Lacoin BTC, all one word, at Viva Lacoin BTC. Someone else had Viva Lacoin, don't know who it is. They're not really active, but I don't care enough to go and harass them for the handle. So if you want to see me just go back and forth with crypto Twitter and point out a bunch of other things that may not warrant an entire video, go ahead and go follow me there. I promise that it's not going to be boring, if anything. But for VRA, so I've been tweeting about them for a while, and this one I put up was actually back in early March. So I saw them starting to come up, and I think they were about at 1/3 of a penny at that point, or not a third, 3/10 of a penny around this point. And I already was getting pretty significant gains, but I'm like, okay, here comes the traction that we need, the NFT space, the gaming space, both in Theta, in Engine, and then Chili's. They're starting to pump up, and knowing the utility and the patent that was about to be approved for VRA that came through towards the end of March, I was trying to get some traction. And of course, I always harass CZ from Binance to get them listed back on Binance. They used to be a long time ago, and then they were eventually removed. But I do have high expectations for the team, getting them back on some bigger exchanges than just KuCoin. And they also announced that they have a couple DEXs as well. Now, if you want to stay up to date with the project, the two best Twitters to follow are their actual team, which is just Verasity Tech, at Verasity Tech, and then their main CEO or project head, Mark. So Mark at veracitytech.org. His Twitter handle is just at rjmark_veracity. So if you go and follow them, they constantly put out new information every single day. It's one of the most, I follow as many different projects as I can on Twitter, and I will continue to follow them, but they are one of the most active teams that I've seen. And you're going to see that reflected in some of their social sentiment and metrics I'm going to show you here in a second. But they just announced this morning, 26 minutes ago, that they're going to extend their staking program with a return of 25.5% through March 31st, 2022. So they're also going to reduce their gas fees. So they've been scaling back as VRA goes up in price, what their gas fees are to interact with their wallets. And it's down to 600 VRA. And I believe that they're going to continue to lower that as VRA gains more traction. Now, when we look at another website that I use when I'm looking at social sentiment for projects, it isn't just about utility. Now, utility is number one for me. Is the project able to be adopted? Do they have a functional working system? Are they being used? And with Verasity, yes. Not only is there patent already on their protocol for proof of view, which just essentially lets you know if real people are watching your content or your advertisements, or if it's a bot or a fake view. And with $150 billion in that space, that's a lot of ad revenue that it might be lost to fake views, to bot views. And and I mentioned this in my last video, even Instagram influencers or YouTube people, they pay for views, they pay for followers sometimes just to pump that up. So if you are going to try and sell a product and you want to go to an influencer and you say, hey, you have a ton of viewers, let me go ahead and I'll pay you to push my product or to do an advertisement. Well, if 85% of their viewership is fake, then you're just wasting ad revenue in dollars in your budget. So massive, massive use case, but I also look at social sentiment. So there is a website, Lunar Crush, that goes into a series of different metrics. For all cryptocurrencies, they typically feature a coin of the day like Chainlink, who, exciting for them, they're pumping along with Filecoin thanks to Grayscale. But it will break down total social volume, social engagement, total shared links, active contributors, social sentiment, and so on. I don't have a profile. I don't pay for any of this. So you can go to Lunar Crush just to look up your favorite cryptos to see how they stack up and, how they're comparing to their competitors. Now, when I go here and look at this, you can look up your crypto and see exactly where they stack up to everyone else. And right now, VRA, and if I refresh this, it would probably change. And I took some screenshots from it. But that in their breakdown for key indicators, including volume, percentage change, social score, and social volume, they're actually ranked number 4 out of 2,056 cryptos that Lunar Crush tracks. Now, this is not the first time that they are in the top 10. They're actually in the top 10 quite frequently. And I believe that's due in part to the incredibly active team behind them, an incredibly active community on Twitter, a great use case, and they have a big esports competition that they run, and they're all tied into that. If you follow their project or get a little bit deeper into it, you're going to see that that is only going to continue to grow. And they're in talks to get on additional dexes and exchanges. And they're also in talks to try and make their proof of view in their patent a staple of NFTs, because NFTs get a little dicey when you're trying to see who owns what or whether or not they're viewing it or people are trying to copycat individuals. Well, all those metrics can now flow back and you can have a better idea of the amount of interaction or value that you're getting from the NFT side as well. That's still in development, so I can't go deeper into it, but you can see NFTs right now across the entire crypto space, although being a very dangerous bubble, in my opinion, if you're actually purchasing the NFTs, the cryptos behind them are doing very well. So the more that they incorporate that, I think that it will come to a great benefit to this project. And also, it'll break down the top influencers that talk about Verasity. And if you're looking to follow good community members, I follow all these individuals. If you are looking to follow additional good community members to give you updates in VRA, this is who you can follow. And you can go to this website and get additional information. Now, one other thing I did want to show that I retweeted earlier, if we look at the coins that reached a new all-time high today and then retained their all-time high, and this is from Crypto Differ, Verasity is number 1. Not only have they hit a new all-time high, but unlike some of these other smaller projects, even like Acropolis that's a little bit bigger, they hit an all-time high and then immediately had a decent retracement or a dump. I don't think that we're going to see that as often with VRA. Now, of course, A, not financial advice, and secondly, of course, we're going to see retracements. We absolutely will. And when Bitcoin had its little bit of crash at the end of March, we did see them come back significantly from their previous all-time high, which was about 0.027 cents, all the way down to about around 1.4 or 0.014 cents. Now, I bought more because I'm going to continue to accumulate this because I think that they're going to at least break into the top 100 cryptos, if not push a little bit higher, if their roadmap stays on track and they hit all of their Q1 goals, and their Q2 goals are even more ambitious. And the community is getting louder and louder and louder. And I think that we are going to see great things from them continued out through the bull run. There aren't many projects, especially the very low cap ones that I'm invested in, that would pump as high as they have for me thus far. And not only would I not sell, but I would accumulate more. And this is one of them because of the utility, because of the actual use case of them, the community, the team, and the partnerships behind them. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of a better snapshot of where VRA is in total and where some of their benefit is overall in this space. I think that they are a great competitor. I like Theta. I love Engine, and I don't think that VRA is going to go and knock them off of the pedestal. So I want to be clear about that. I think that they've already established themselves as incredible projects, and they're going to continue to go up. They're just already so high in market cap, being, I believe, Engine's around like 2 billion, Theta was around like 11 billion. return on investment when you jump in there is going to be a little slower, and it's going to take a little more time, and you're going to have, I still believe with Theta, maybe a little more retracement. They were a little shook when they extended their roadmap that they announced earlier in the week. So it all depends on what your preference is and how you want to go in and purchase them. Now for VRA, they are available on KuCoin. Again, not my favorite exchange. It's just their interface. I'm not the biggest fan, and typically if I do trade on there, I'm depositing crypto. I never synced up like my banking information. It just seemed like a lot, and I don't really use their exchange for many things. I purchased all of mine on Uniswap, and again, if you're going into Uniswap and you're tying in your MetaMask wallet or your Coinbase wallet, pay attention to the gas fees, because Ethereum gas fees have been significantly high throughout the last 3 months, as we've seen, and have ranged anywhere from like a medium low of like $30 to $50 all the way up to, I've unfortunately made a couple purchases around like the mid 200s back in second week of February when it was really congested. So please be smart. Please make decisions that aren't going to eat away at your initial investment, and then don't just look at them and say, oh, they went from 4 cents to 6 cents. Great return, let me dump it. Because A, if you bought them on Uniswap, you may have to pay to dump them again. And then B, do your research to see if there's additional gains beyond that point to be made. And I believe that between the case that I'm making here, as well as all the other information you're going to see when you go follow these other channels and people talking about it, or these websites showing the sentiment, I think that you're going to see there's a lot of value still on the table, and I'm very positive about where they are heading next. Aside from that, every new person on this channel, or all the people that have been here thus far, I appreciate you so much. I truly, truly mean that. I'm honored to have you here. And as always, thanks for joining me on this episode of Viva La Coin, and I will catch you guys next time.